Hi, and welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating Podcast. My name is Kristen Jones, and thank you so much for joining me this week. This week's episode, it's really interesting. I actually had a person already scheduled to be a guest on this on the podcast today, and actually, she is one of my oldest and dearest, oldest meaning like longest time. She's the same age as me. One of my oldest and dearest friends, and she will be a guest on the podcast. But for a variety of reasons, it just didn't work out for both of us, and it was actually really good timing. I actually just got off the phone with her, and so we were just kind of chatting about things and talking about what I was going to be talking about today. So I'm really glad that y'all have joined me today. But I was kind of giving her an overview of what I'm going to be talking about today. So for those of you who are listening on the podcast and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So just a little background. So today in the Breakthrough Emotional Eating group on Facebook, if by the way you are listening and you are not a member, you want to be a member. So it is www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough. If you are not a member, you want to come join. It is an amazing place, super inspirational, super powerful, lots of free resources, just lots of challenges, all sorts of good stuff. And then the weekly live here in the group. And because this video or this podcast is being recorded in February, it is my birthday month. So we've had giveaways every week this month. And so you just want to be a part of things because there's all sorts of good stuff going on, good freebies, good opportunities to meet other people and just get support and get encouragement and motivation for addressing emotional eating as well as losing weight. And those two things really, in normal circumstances, those two things don't necessarily go together very well, emotional eating and losing weight, just because most people look at it and try to address it in a very traditional way, in the traditional diet sense. And that's not what we do here. So what we do here is we look at our thoughts and our beliefs about ourselves and our lives and where all those come from. And then we start unpacking and start changing those things, how we think and how we feel about ourselves and what our brain tells us about ourselves. We try to make those changes because, as you know, if we think about it logically, nobody does anything. We don't do anything in our lives without our brain being involved. So why would we think that food and eating would be any different? It's not. We have to address our thoughts and our beliefs about ourselves. And so today's episode is going to be talking about making changes in your life when you've realized things are not going in the way that you want them to, and you have what, would be considered a crisis. And so I am using myself as an example because I have recently had what I would consider to be a crisis in my life. And I posted about it today in the Breakthrough community. And it was about a kind of a health condition that I am being faced with. And so long story short, I've started doing I'm halfway through a yoga teacher training. I want to say yogurt, yoga teacher training. And I've noticed significantly, it's been a month that I've been doing this. Yeah, just about a month, a little over a month. And I am noticing that I am having like pretty breath, take your breath away, joint pain, in my shoulders, in my hips, in my low back, in my knees. And we sit for periods of time on the floor, and then we get up, and I am not even kidding. I stand up and I need like a minute to sometimes I stand up and I take a step and I'm like, oh wait, hold on a second. I gotta stand there for a minute to let like the blood and like the synovial fluid in my joints to kind of like loosen everything up. And then I start taking steps, and then I start walking, and then I'm like, oh, going to down dog, and let's lift our leg high. And we're doing all this stuff. And I am just, it has been really, really challenging for me. And I am a person who I have run 12 marathons. I'm very active. I run on my treadmill. I do all these things. When I'm moving, I'm fine. But when I'm not, like when I sit still for too long, it's like I get up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And it's gotten exponentially worse in the last probably 3 or 4 months. So I realized that I started, it was interesting because this whole thing came up because I was talking to this very delightful woman who's in my yoga teacher training group. And she's so sweet. Her name's Anna Maria. And she was telling me, I don't know how we got on this subject, but she mentioned something about, she said, people like my kids' friends, like, ask me about yoga, or they, start talking about stuff. And she's like, I can do that. She's like, I can do like what a 20-year-old can do. And she's not saying that like in a boastful way. She's just like, no, she's like, I take, like a yoga class every day, blah, 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 all this stuff. And she was just saying, she's like, I'm really careful about my diet. And so I don't have a lot of ailments that most people my age, she's about the same age as I am, most people my age have. And as she's talking, I'm like 4 years ago, I'd have been like, oh yeah, totally, me too. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not me anymore. And it hit me so hard where I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I am aging so quickly. And so I'm not a person who in any way ever likes to take medication. And I mean, I take medication when I absolutely have to, but I do not believe in like popping a pill. I don't take Motrin or Advil or aspirin unless I absolutely have to. And so it's just, I just don't like to put a Band-Aid. I like to figure out what the problem is. And so I'm just going to stop there for a second. And for those people who are watching in the group, if you're watching live in the Facebook community, if you can just chime in the comments, if you can just let me know if when I was describing that thought of that realization that I had of like, oh my gosh, like I'm so much older than my age. How many of you have ever felt that way when you like try to do something, you think you're 25 again or still, and you start to do something, you try to do something, and all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, like I can't do this. But in your mind, you totally think you can, but like your body doesn't let you. So if you have been in that situation, please put the word body in the comments. Put the word body in the comments that you have had that experience where your brain wants to do these things because you think you're still 25, but then your body just totally is like, no, we cannot do that. So please put the word body in the comments if that has happened to you. If you feel like as you've gotten older, you're like, why can't I do this stuff? I don't. Yeah. What is it? So my mind says yes, my body says really. That's great, Robin. Yeah, it's so true. And so this was like the first time that I all of a sudden was like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? And so Anna Maria and I, had a really nice conversation, and she was telling me, she said, I have a ton of food allergies, which I have none. And she says, I have a ton of food allergies, so I have to be really careful about what I eat. She said, but I do that because if I don't, I could probably get by without changing my diet and just do whatever I wanted to do. She goes, but I wouldn't feel the way I feel right now. And I mean, it's crazy for me to think that I was like, oh my God, I would have never thought. I mean, I like, oh, that's such a novel concept, but I never thought of it until I was in pain. And I realized this is the thing that I need to look at to see if it can help me get out of my pain. And so obviously for me right now, that motivation, at that point was like motivation was super high. And I did not ask her what she did because she was very, very clear. And this is exactly the same way I want to be with all of you. She was very clear with me about, she said, this is what I do. This is what I've figured out works for me and my body. She said, I'm not saying in any way that this is something you should do. And I said, no, I totally agree. And she says, I think every person has to figure out what works for them. And so, we proceeded to have our conversation. She told me a couple of things and I was like, oh, okay, great. So, and I just asked her some questions and then kind of went on my merry way. And so it was really, I feel like when those situations happen and they come like that kind of happens in your life, like your mind gets blown and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like, this person came into my life. Like she came into my life and started talking to me at that exact moment because I really needed to hear it. And so I decided that like, I wanted to take the steps of looking at what I eat as a way of seeing if, because I believe, I believe food is medicine. I believe movement is medicine. I believe that we can heal ourselves in a lot of ways. Our mind, it does a lot of healing for us. So I really decided that I was going to like, okay, I want to see what this is going to do. And now if I try and I experiment and I do different things and I still need that medical intervention. Okay. Yes. Then we can start talking about that. But so anyway, I made that decision. And so starting on Sunday. So I'm 4 days in with the dietary changes that I'm making. But one of the things I realized, and I realized this on Sunday, was I said to myself, there is no way, because the first thing that I thought of, and because I know, you all are in this group and if you've been around for a while, you know that I am very, very clear and preach this all the time because it definitely impacts me, is that when we start to restrict, that's when our brain starts to rebel. So when we start to restrict things, we start wanting things even more. That is the natural response of your brain. But there is 100% a way of overriding that. And I realized that I have a very strong belief that, okay, if I start restricting, I am going to be like, I'm going to be knee deep back in emotional eating. And I am going to get right back. And I was like, nope, we're not doing that. And I thought, you have not spent all of this time and created a group, and you have all these programs and you've helped so many people. You are not going to let yourself fall back into that. And so I made the decision at that point. It was like, okay, you know exactly what to do, because you're going to do exactly what you do with your breakthrough membership. You're going to do exactly what you do and what you teach in your 21-day jumpstart. You're going to do exactly what you do in the breakthrough emotional eating community. You are going to address your thoughts about these changes that you're making. And then you're going to go from there. And then it will make these decisions and these choices that you're making so much easier. So I want to show all of you what I do on a daily basis, because I will tell you, like, this is a dramatic change. And you guys know, I don't keep things from you. I am completely transparent about who I am and about what I do and how I kind of live my life in a sense of how I do that and how I manage my emotional eating. And so one of the things that's really important to me is the idea of being able to eat what I want to eat and do it in a way that allows me to stay at the weight that I want to stay at, but also have that healthy relationship with food and not have food become that all-consuming thing that just dominates my life. And so what I was joking with my friend about was I was telling her about the about these that I was having all this pain, and I said, I had to come to the realization that Cheetos are not one of the 4 food groups. Like, you don't have a food group that's just Cheetos and Trader Joe's scoop chip tortilla chips. Like, you get, like, that's not a food group. Like, that's a food group for me, but that's not a food group for most people. I was joking with her. I said, yeah, they crack me open right now, I'd probably be neon orange. I love Cheetos, y'all. I am not going to lie. The puffy ones, not the crispy ones, not the crunchy ones. I like the puffy ones. Love them to death. Probably not the best choice for joint inflammation. Let's just be honest. Probably not. When I was probably, 10 years ago, could totally get away with it. As my body gets older, probably not the best choice. So I have had to come to now, am I never going to eat Cheetos again? Oh, heck no. I will. Thank you, Carol. Oh my God. Yes. Cheetos. They're awesome. They are awesome. I don't mind the neon orange fingers. I don't care. I licked it off. I don't care. But am I never going to have Cheetos again? No, I'm going to have Cheetos again. That's some, I will definitely, I will never make anything restrictive, but it's how I choose to go into thinking about making this decision, because it is not, I do not see not having Cheetos in my pantry. I don't see that as restricting myself. I see that as me showing the ultimate love for myself and putting my best interest, my body, my pain levels, my enjoyment of life. I put that in. Oh, of course, Billy. I know that. I know, yes, Cheetos are absolutely not good for inflammation. I know. But I I have to see that. I choose to see that. And I choose to always think about it as it's okay, because this is about me taking care of me and showing myself and putting myself first, not my indulgences, not my primal brain, because it's always going to want Cheetos, always. But I'm going to put myself first, and I'm going to make the decisions that are going to be best for me. And I will tell you, I remind myself of that every morning, every day when I make my lunch, when I go to eat my dinner, when I go to the grocery store, because that's always kind of tough, because it's like, oh, I feel kind of good today. Maybe I could have some. No, I have to always, that is the thought work that I'm always doing. So I wanted to share with you all what I do each day, to keep myself, especially since this is all started, what I am telling myself, what I'm sharing with myself, what I am saying, the words that I am saying to myself as I go through this. Because if I think for a moment that I am denying myself and I'm restricting myself, this will never work. I will be cranky and crabby and will throw myself into 5 bags of Cheetos if I am not careful about what I do. And so it's the exact same thing that I teach all of you. So I just want to make sure that you know, like what we're talking about, like what I always talk about, this works. So every morning I have my journal. It says talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Like talk is cheap. And this is, oh, it's so dirty. It really is dirty. But this is a journal that I have. I go through journals pretty quickly, but I always, and I've talked about this before, but I want to be really clear about this. I always do my gratitude first, what I'm grateful for, however many things I can think of, I write them out. I love the power of writing. I love the power of seeing something and documenting it, because it really imprints it in my brain. So I talk about what I'm grateful for. I do 2, sometimes 3, depends on how I feel, affirmations that apply to what's going on with me in those particular moments. And right now, the affirmations that I am choosing to focus on are: I make the best decisions about what I eat because I love myself. Okay. I make the best decisions about what I eat because I love myself. And I always am telling myself that this is about me loving myself. This is about me taking care of me. And as long as I know that that's where I'm coming from and that's why this is being done, it's not an issue. I will tell you all, I have been so shocked, because if this had happened 2 years ago, and I will be honest with you all, it's kind of sneaky. I used to do this like, oh, I'm going to restrict myself from this. I used to do it under the guise of, oh yeah, I'm doing it so I can feel better and blah, blah, blah. No, I was doing it so I could lose weight, because I thought that my weight was if my weight was lower, I wouldn't feel bad, but it was always very sneaky. I made it seem like it was about a health concern, but it wasn't. It was about it was about me wanting to lose weight. And I can be super honest with myself now and be totally transparent and say, like, this has nothing to do. It has absolutely nothing to do with my weight. It has nothing to do with anything of aesthetic at all. Not about my weight, not about how my body looks, nothing. This is solely because I need to feel better. I need to feel like, not like I'm 95 years old, which is at times how I'm feeling. And when I go in with that, and that's the focus, and that's always what I'm telling myself, that's it. It makes it so much easier. Like, I really have not been like tempted to eat anything. I mean, it's been 4 days. 4 days is not that long, but I just have not even, like, I haven't even felt a twinge of like, oh God, I really want that. It's like, I'm so focused on, this is about me and this is about my best interest. And I would ask that each of you, if you are trying to, if you're trying to make any change in your life, whether it's, and even something like, you all know, it's like, I'm not ever going to preach like, oh, no carbs. No, I'm never going to say that kind of stuff. But if you're a person who is really like, you know what, like, I just don't think I should eat carbs. I don't think I should eat sugar. I know that's a very common thing for people to say. And I would never want anyone to say never. Like, I don't believe in never at all. But what I do believe in is, if you are going to make a change, the place you have to start with is, you have to do it from a place of care and uplifting and love and nurturing, and not because you're punishing yourself because you're 10 pounds overweight and this, because we had all those carbs, so now we're going to take those away. That is so punitive and so damaging to you, because you're restricting yourself. You are punishing yourself for something that you feel is wrong. And that will never work. Change will never ever happen when we come from a place of anger, from hate, from disgust, from shame. We will never make a change. It won't happen. So but the crazy part is it's all just in that shift of how you want to think about it. It's all in the shift of your mindset, of how you feel, what you feel you deserve. I mean, next Tuesday, I'm going to turn 54. I, I, I don't want to be a 54-year-old who can't get up from being seated on the floor. Can stand up, but then has to give herself 30 seconds to let the blood start circulating before she starts walking, or is like, ooh, no, that is not going to happen. I'm not letting it happen. And I will take the steps that I need, but it's because I want better for myself. And that's what I want all of you. So when you start thinking about like why you want to lose weight, or why you want to manage your emotional eating, I always want it to come for all of you. I never, ever want it to come from that place of, I've done something wrong and now I need to fix it. You don't need to fix anything. You need to start caring for yourself, and you need to tell yourself, we're doing this because you deserve it, because you deserve to be able to open up your closet and pick any of your clothes out and feel super comfortable wearing them. You deserve to feel comfortable when you leave the house. You deserve to feel, like when you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, dang, I look good. That's what you need to be telling yourself, that you deserve that. And that's why you're doing it. Not because we're trying to be punitive, not because we are trying to change things by force. Doing something by force and by resistance, again, does not work. Willpower doesn't work. Come at it from love, come at it from caring, come at it from a place of, I'm doing this because I matter and I'm important and I'm putting myself first. That's where we have to start the switch. And so that's where my focus is every morning, at noon when I make my lunch, in the evening, when I come home, when I feel like I want to, gosh, something sweet would be really great right now. Well, I don't need to have something there are certain things that I allow myself that fit into kind of what I'm doing, but I don't need to, I don't need to do that other stuff because that's not going to serve what my ultimate purpose is. And so and do the thoughts come in? Oh, heck yeah. And I just say, no, the thought of like, well, you could have that. You could have that. No, that's not where we're going. That's not what we're doing. So, and I'll be also honest that every day as a part of my journaling as well, after I do my two affirmations, I then write out, I personally choose to write out a prayer of how I want my day to go and what I need help with. And so for me, one of the things I ask every day is, I've been asking every day, I need help. I need help with support. I need help with, like, God, I need you to guide me as to what I need to eat. And I need you to make me feel like I can do this. Like, please help me to put the words in my head that I need to say to myself. And for me, that's what works. That works for me. It works for me to write that out. And because it's a commitment that when I write it, I'm making a commitment to myself. And then I'm committing that I am going to do this for the right reasons, because I'm doing it, again, not from a place of trying to take anything away from myself, but because I really I want to achieve this, and I want to achieve it because it's the best thing for me, not because I'm trying to take something away from myself. So that's pretty much my routine, in a sense of my journaling in the morning is so important. But I've got these thoughts going through my head all day long of, okay, this is what we're doing. We're not, we're doing this because we're doing this out of love. We're doing this because you deserve this. You deserve to move your body in the way that you want to. And so, then it becomes a non-negotiable. It just doesn't, like, my brain has, just doesn't fight me so much on it. And I can just tell myself, yep, this is what we're doing. This is what works. So, if that feels like something, again, another thing, you always want to make sure that when you tell yourself, here's the reasons why I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, again, out of love, out of respect, out of this is what's going to be best for me. You then want to show your brain, and these are the things that I'm doing. These are the things that I'm doing to support this, and this is what our response is going to be. So when I feel like, oh gosh, I really, something, something, whatever, Cheetos would sound really good right now. No, that's not what we do. That's not what we're doing right now, because I'm doing this, and this in order to make sure that this is the end result. So I'm always telling myself, showing my brain examples of, well, remember what I did yesterday? Remember how I had my vegetable. By the way, folks, when you haven't eaten very many vegetables and you have eaten Cheetos and then you go back to eating vegetables, there is a very huge benefit from a digestive standpoint. I'm just going to say that. Enough said. I feel amazing. That's all I'm going to say. But that's one of those side benefits that you never even think about, that I'm like, oh, why didn't I do this sooner? So, but I think giving yourself examples of what you've done and how you've already shown that you can do it. And that's just taking it from the day before. Like, I did this yesterday. We're going to do that again today. We're going to do it again tomorrow, and we can keep doing it. So always remember that those pieces, those little pieces always have to be there. It's constant. And when I say constant, I don't mean like it's drudgery. I just know that when I'm telling myself that I can do something and I got this, and I do it because I love myself, like the whole rest of my day goes so much better. Like my work, my business, all of it, because I am taking care of me. And when I take care of me, I take care of others even better than that. So that's if that is something that sounds appealing, then that's where you want your focus to be, is when I take care of myself and I am doing things because I'm showing myself love, I can show other people. I can be more engaged and more focused and more attentive to other people around me as well. So If you don't journal, if you don't, I can't even begin to say how important journaling is, how important it is to take the time to get your thoughts down on paper, to give your brain direction during the day, to tell your brain that you can do things. There is nothing that you can't do, and why you're doing it and what the steps are. If you're not doing that, you need to start doing it like yesterday. So go out, spend some money, get a little journal. I think I got this at CVS. I think it was $10 or something like that. Man, it probably wasn't even that much, but get a journal, have something dedicated to you, and start committing to yourself that whatever changes you want to make in your life, whether it's getting a new job, whether it's getting a new relationship, whether it's keeping your house clean, whatever it is, you're doing it for the reasons, the right reasons for yourself. And you're telling your brain, those are the reasons why I'm doing this. And that will help you in turn be able to support yourself and to be able to continue moving forward, because we have to be telling ourselves that. Okay. So again, make sure talk is cheap. Talk is not cheap. We want to make sure that you are really ingraining in your brain what it is that you want to have and what the outcome is that you want. And you will be able to achieve that. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Billy says, I'm a visual learner and journaling helps me because I see what my brain needs to remember. Billy, I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way. Anne says, journaling for me is easiest tool to use to process thoughts. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I can't not journal. No, it is so true. So we have to. So if you are a person, and I am not, this is not a judgment, but if you are a person who needs to start journaling and you feel like you haven't gotten a consistent like journal routine or journal habit, if there is one thing that I can suggest, that would be the thing. That would be the thing to just like, if you're like, I'm not sure what's happening, I'm just like, I kind of flop, I don't know what to do. Journaling is the first, and journaling is as simple as getting a spiral notebook, one of those little spiral notebooks that all the kids have. You just spiral notebook, and you just like, what are your thoughts? That's it. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling? That's it. And you know what? The cool part is, and Diane, this is totally like a sentence. Start off with just a sentence. This is how I'm feeling today. And if it's, I feel like crap today, that's fine. That's cool. It's not a problem. That could be what you write. And then that's your journal entry for the day. Or it could be, yesterday was really hard. Today's a better day. All right, there you go. Journal entry number 2. It doesn't need to be, there's no prescribed amount, but it's just getting, because you know what? We got way too many thoughts going on in our heads, and we need to get space for this 60,000 other thoughts that happen in our brain every day. If we don't empty some of those thoughts out, it is a busy, crowded place in there. And if you consider yourself an overthinker, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because I'm sure many people, oh yeah, lots of prompts on Pinterest. Absolutely. Thanks, Anne. That's so true. Also, if you're a person who feels like, oh my gosh, like I can't settle my mind down, I can't get my mind to stop moving, that's a sign that there's too many thoughts going on. There's too many thoughts going on in your head. You need to let some of them loose. You need to let some of them out, and getting them out on paper is what can really help with that. So I would say journal. So if you, Diane, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I think you'd be surprised by how much it will help. So if you are a person, so just be honest, if you're a person who really thinks like, yeah, you know what? I don't journal as much as I'd like to, and I'd really like to start. If you could just throw journal into the comments, just journal into the comments. And, it's going to be a giveaway. I have a list of journal prompts that I am happy to send to you. So if you would like my list of journal prompts, just like, it's just a list of like, if you're not like, I don't know what to journal about, I have a whole list of journal prompts that I will happily send to you and encourage you to get started with journaling. So just write the word journal and I will send that to you, and you will be good to go. But you also have to know you don't need a prompt. You can just sit down and just start dumping it out. That's it. Okay. Oh, yay. Journal, journal, journal. All right. I got you guys. I got you all. All right. Yeah. So just throw that. I will send that out to you all. I'll send that out to you in the next 20 minutes or so. All right. So you guys are all set. I hope that was helpful. If you could just throw in the comment, if you can throw in the comments, just throw me a comment if that was helpful, if it was kind of gave you just again a little bit of insight, and I hope it showed you that this journey never ends. This journey never ends. Like, I feel really good about where my eating is, where my emotional eating is. And this is just like this is just another step. It's just another thing for me that I will deal with, that I will address, I will deal with, and we will continue to move forward. But it's, I have to say though, but learning these tools and learning these strategies and getting so many opportunities to practice them and get to talk to you all about it has made this so much easier for me. And there are going to be days that are going to be really hard. And I will share with you when the days are really hard, but it's just, I want you all to know that it's like, I'm like maybe a half a step ahead of you. Let me do all the hard work and then I'll pass it on to you. But just know that it's an ongoing thing. It's ongoing. And once you accept that it's going to be ongoing, it makes it so much easier. And I hope that I can show you that it's not a bad thing. I know I felt some people in the post that I wrote, we're almost feeling like, oh, I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this, or I'm so sorry, and I understand, I'm so sorry that you're in pain, but that like, oh, like something else has come up. It's like, man, that is just life. That is just life. We have to just accept that we are going to get things thrown at us, and we're going to get all of this. We're going to get all of these just different things coming at us, and that we can always handle it. We can always handle it because we have the tools. We know what we need to do. But sometimes we need help with that. Sometimes we need some direction. And I'm thankful that I have a coach, that I have, people in my life, and that I work with all of you. It's very helpful to be able to be doing this all the time and to remind myself of like, oh yeah, you know what to do. You got this. So thank you all, because you all have been very helpful for me. All right. So thank you so much for being here, for listening. Those of you on the podcast, or on the in the Facebook group. What's it called? In the Facebook group. Love you all. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time out of your day. I don't ever take that for granted. So thank you for sharing a little slice of your day with me. And those of you on the podcast, if you're not a member of the Facebook group, please come and join us. Otherwise, I will see you all next week. Oh yeah. Next week, I'm going to actually, for those of you in the Facebook group, if you could stick around, because I'm going to end the podcast and then we'll talk about what's going to happen next week. Okay. All right, y'all, have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you all on the next podcast. All right. Take care.